You know, a man on the island.
I am.
Nah, because you got people you love. You got people you want to. You got people that you support.
I don't subscribe to none of that shit. Still.
Yeah, but you do.
That shit ain't affecting us.
Everybody got to pick a side. Everybody.
All other shit. I pick a side.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
My side is mine.
That's more of a red pill type of way of thinking. You know, whether or not, because blue pill would be more towards the best for the group. You know, and red pill would be more what's best for you, the individual. Both of them is just a thinking. So that's why it's like the red pill and blue pill is stigmatized. They always put a label on it and make it seem like it's more than what it is. It's really just clarity in all things. It's not one of those things where they put an ism on it to make it seem like, oh, you got to sit up here and you red pill, you blue pill. But at the end of the day, you need to know what both of them mean.
I have too much of the blue and yellow purple pills.
What about the motherfucking... They actually do got purple pill now. That's a thing. That's a real thing. It's purple pill and it's fucking black pill now. That's where you really at. You really black pill with the knowledge. Because the knowledge that you know, even though you don't have to know everything. Like niggas that be black pill be having statistics and they be knowing a whole bunch of information. But you don't have to necessarily be fucking the most knowledgeable person in the world to be black pill. You could just believe what you believe, and that belief can drive you to just say, well, I'm disillusioned. I don't believe in none of this shit. I am now black pill. And that's what that really is, a disillusion from the whole system. Because you don't feel as though you can beat it. You don't feel you can join it. So you just say, fuck it. Fuck the whole shit. Tip the board over. But truth be told, we can win this shit, man. We can still win this shit. It ain't hopeless.
We need more board tempers.
We think it would be better if you would set
Board tippers. Yeah, we do. We need more board tippers, but when you tip the board, you don't just tip the board and just stop. That's the problem. When you tip the board and just stop, you just as bad as the people who still playing the game. Because tipping the board not really the goal. Tipping the board is just because it's a means to an end. You're not just tipping the board because I'm tipping the board. Fuck it.
Is the best option.
No, that's not the best option. The best option is actually other things beyond the board that they trying to hide with the board. Because they put the board in your face to hide the truth of this world and the reality of this world. Yeah, but sometimes you tip the board and you just like, I tipped the board. And you just looking at everybody else like, nigga.
Tip the board and just not tip the board.
But that's what niggas do.
Tip the board and keep tipping bullshit.
Is that the tip?
All this shit needs to be tipped. All this shit needs to be
That's why the red and blue pill is important. Because it's not about the feeling of it, it's about the truth of it. So what's the reality of it? The reality of the situation,
This shit needs to be tipped.
that is a reality. This shit do need to be tipped. Like Jesus tipped the motherfucking tables in the motherfucking temples when he came in there was trying to sell blessings. It need to be tipped. I'm a 100% tipper. You know what I'm saying? It ain't tipping if you got it. I'm with that shit, man. I'm serious. I'm really with the shits. But I also understand that the red and blue pill is also, it's important to learn some of this shit before you just tip the board, because you just tip the board and you don't have nothing better to offer. You don't have a system and order and structure to give to people. Then what's the point of tipping the board?
I don't know, they're gonna tip the board. Structure and the way shit is going now, nigga ain't right, man. Tip the board.
But that's why it's easy to come up with a they already.
If it was easy, somebody would did the shit.
People have done it. It's just that people haven't lived up to it and haven't understood it. That's the thing. People have actually.
Ain't easy.
It's easy. If it's easy enough for them to reverse engineer our good system that we had, the 10 life values that we had in place already, beginning with the spiritual, ending with the wealth value, then
Was our system that good? If they was like, able to reverse engineer?
yeah, it was.
Get niggas to go along
It was
with
that good. Because the thing is, our system is so good that it's still resonating in us to this day. Our system was so good and so perfect that in order for us to overcome this, what we in, we had to go through this. It was no way that we did.
How so?
It's
System is so good.
because our system was so good that it refuses to strip away humanity from any other human being. Our system is so in tune with making sure that black people are human and that we are fit and that we are living our life according to the 10 life values, that it's easy for another outside force who don't live by those values to come, and then it's like, just because somebody is innocent don't mean they weak. Just because somebody is naive don't mean they weak. They just naive. And the thing is that we never, as who we are, we never expected that it was this type of evil in the world.
So, in that context, that naivety would be weakness?
No, it's not.
Why not?
Because the thing is that it would be deemed weakness if we were eradicated. Once we are utterly eradicated and there's none of us left to resurrect us, then we can say, damn, that naivety was weakness because we wasn't able to bounce back. But see, the thing is that when we do bounce back, we're going to bounce back and be an even stronger force from the knowledge that we're going to have that innocent heart and that purity of mind, because we never participated in this system as black men. The one entity in this whole world that never participated in the system of white supremacy is black men. We can't participate in it even if we want to. Even the best niggas that try their hardest, they can't even participate in it. They can't get no benefits from it. Can't. So when we do overcome that system, you'll see. We're gonna be the strongest, moving in the, like when these little hats try to be fake self-righteous and say, oh, who doing this? And it don't even resonate like it's gonna resonate when we start speaking up. Once we get to claim our identity, who we are as foundational black Americans, which is the indigenous people of North and South America. Because just like they separated the Middle East from Africa and tried to say, oh, that's Africa, that's the Middle East, it's the same thing they did with Mexico and California. And tried to say, oh, that's Mexico, that's California. They put a border. Borders separate people, it separate identities. They put a border right somewhere where it's crucial to be the point of historical identity. They put a border there to separate the local natives back in the past. This is ancient time they did this shit. And waged wars on this shit to enforce these border lines and shit. So it's serious. But when you understand them 10 life values and you understand how they was perverted and understand that it wasn't, you know, it don't make us bad people because they was able to pervert this system and to take over the world. It actually show their weakness. It actually show how lame they are. They can't even eradicate.
Feel different though.
Using you for all wrong purpose.
We was on the block.
Sorry, Mike.
We was in street life shit.
After you
6
finish.
months we are searching
You know what's out here. You know I'm not eating some shit.
be able to find.
You know, me being naive to some shit.
You think we will be able to find our life?
It's too much of a liability out here. We still go out, do whatever. And my naivety get me into some shit. That's fatal. That was a weakness.
Yeah, in the streets, definitely anywhere you go, when you're dealing with the wild, you're dealing with shit of that nature, it's definitely not naivety actually will get you killed.
What's the difference here and there?
The difference here and there is that now we dealing with civilization. We dealing with beyond the animals. We dealing with what would separate the animal from the man. That's why you don't see no animals with cities and cars and electricity and shit like that. Because this is where we get into the fine tuning of what separate us from the animals, the God in us that made us able to establish civilization. And the thing is that once we on that level and we gave that to the world, it's no longer naive when you sharing something with the world. How we supposed to know that somebody was gonna take it and pimp it out and pervert it and kill babies and all of this shit? Like, that's not naivety. That's just
It is. That's not knowing who you're dealing with.
I get it, but it's a different. It's not the same type of energy. Because it's like, why would you hold? Like, actually, you would
That's
be.
how motherfuckers get you. Play like they your friends.
But it's just like, that's why they say things like, you create your own destiny on the road to trying to avoid it. So either way it goes, if you hoard the technology, if you hoard the civilization, you still create enemies and animosity that want to topple your civilization. If you share the civilization with people freely, you still end up in the same situation. So I just think
Yeah, finish.
I just think that it wasn't naive. I think it was inevitable. It's one of those things where our purity of heart was there, and they impurity of heart was there, and that would inevitably happen. It was unavoidable.
I gotta hold the mic. I didn't know we were recording this. That's hot. I'm just kidding. But I was gonna say the weakness thing. Once again, I thought of something. I was thinking about these metaphors that explain these things. I don't know why. But imagine it was like, you see Children of the Corn? There's a bunch of brutal children, warlike children running around. You know what I'm saying? They don't know what they're doing. They warring, trying to take over. And they run into a civilization of adults that are peaceful. They don't know what war is. These adults will be stronger than them, smarter than them. You know what I'm saying? All around, just better able to run a society than these children. These children come in and they brutalize these adults and beat them down because they don't know what war is. They've been peaceful this whole time. You know what I'm saying?
Once the kids can start brutalizing, what the adults do?
They give in because they're a peaceful society. So they don't really know what to do. So they're left in servitude for however long because they just keep getting murdered until the weakest of them are left to be slaves. Anytime they try to rise up, they get murdered because they don't have any weapons. They don't know what weaponry is or how to fight with weaponry. Now, does that make them weak, per se? I don't know. Because once they do learn how to train with weaponry, they would have to change their mindset and become as brutal as the children. They'll be able to wipe the kids out. No problem. But they would have to alter who they were at heart. And that's what Nicholas is trying to say. Now, if they could change the children's hearts, they would be able to run a better society. But if they take the children's, you know what I'm saying, adapt to the children's mindset, they'll become brutal, evil, and then, I mean, that would just end up being bad because they would be stronger, more powerful.
What's the way out?
The way out. Go ahead.
Ask your question again.
What's the way out?
Well, honestly, the way out have to do with reparations, and it have to do with where reparations can even come from. It's just like what she was just saying about the warring civilization of children and peaceful adults. If the adults become brutal and start murdering all the kids and establish a dictatorship over the kids, that changes the whole civilization of the peaceful adults. So they really truly lost in the end. They didn't win. They never won. They lost their humanity. They lost the spiritual value, which is the most important to all human beings.
Lost their lives. So
They didn't lose their lives. They won. They killed the kids.
you talking about in the movie?
I'm talking about in a figurative way I'm speaking. In a metaphor I'm speaking of. In the movie they died. But the thing...
So in the figurative way that you're speaking...
What's the most... What's eternal? Is the physical eternal or the spiritual eternal?
Well, we know physical ain't eternal.
Okay, so what's the most important?
If that's the case, nigga, none of this shit ain't important.
It is important because it leaves a lasting effect in the physical, what you do with the spiritual. So, for instance, me personally, if I live by my spiritual values and I never yield and I lose my life in that, that shit resonates in this plane. And I will return. And I'm going to have, based upon that energy, I'm going to return to a place that's either better or worse based upon the energy I left behind. If I just give in to this shit, what does that accomplish when I'm just going to return right back? And then if you're a type of black person who like to sleep with only black people, which most of us are, then you're going to return in the form of a black person, which you have already been doing. You have already been returning in the form of a black person. Unless you go start fucking with white bitches.
We still in the bullshit.
What you mean?
We return in the form of black people still stuck in the same shit.
Yeah, that's because we haven't perfected the spiritual. The white folks have. This is why they understand that this is temporary and they move in a spiritual way. Even though they spirit resonate more with the, when you look at the yin and the yang, the black people might resonate more with the yang, but they resonate more with the yin. But they resonate, they understand their principles and they practicing it. That's why they jump out of airplanes and you got motherfuckers doing all type of stunts. They don't hold on to this shit. And they fucking got life insurance policies and shit. They're not so spooked about passing. They understand we gonna die one day. It's us black folks who don't accept that now. We don't accept we gonna die one day. We live like black people is immortal, but we not. No one is immortal. No man is unto himself. All men is connected unto others. All men is reliant upon the next man. That's just the way it's designed. That's the way it is. That's the way it's built. That's how come we have an advantage. That's where our advantages are. And like I was saying, when it comes to the reparations and when it comes to what's the solution to this shit, it's just like if you got a dog now, if he run up in your room and shit everywhere and fuck your bed up and your room up and tear everything up in your room, are you gonna make him clean that shit up and give you reparations for doing that and repair your room and make everything cleaner and clean as it was before?
That's a dog.
He can't do that. It's the same thing with these YTs. White folks. Anybody who would participate in chattel slavery and would dehumanize somebody is a dog and can't repair what they have destroyed because they already sacrificed. The slave never lost his humanity because he was a slave. The slave master lost their humanity for putting somebody in that position and thinking that, oh, it's cool for some money. So now how can that same animal come back and give you and come back and make it good for you? When they soulless. And this shit resonate through generations. Reparations is us. When we get on our feet, understand who we are. First step to our reparations is getting them the first value and the 10 life values correct, which is the spiritual value. And no man spirit can be right unless he understand who he is. Your spiritual value is in your identity. And understanding who you are and where you come from and the importance and relevancy of that.
Then why is everybody talking about financial reparations?
Because that's the only thing that these YTs understand.
You really need land.
That's the only thing they understand. We can't talk about nothing else with them. And the fact that we even talk with them about the reparations language is us understanding, because 10 years ago, more than half of us, only 20 or 15% of foundational Black Americans would even fight or speak up for reparations. So now the pendulum is swinging in a massive way, to where now a lot of Black males especially are looking at reparations like something that should be on the table and talked about, and it's serious. And that have nothing to do with reparations. We can take the reparations off the table and just put the self-determination on the table, which is the most important factor in trying to get reparations. The self-determination to have self-identity, and the self-determination to unite ourselves and collectivize ourselves. That's the most important thing. That's the first spiritual step. If we can do that, we can do all things. We can conquer this whole shit. After we do that, and then we can create reparations for ourselves. For real. That's what I've been waiting on, for us to come together, because they can't give us reparations. We have to create it as Black men. We have to create our reparations, and we can do it. But we have to come together to do it.
So how do we come together?
Under one banner, under one ideology of our identity of who we are. That's how we come together. It don't have to be about a religion. It don't have to be about is niggas trying to make money. Once we have an ideology about who we are as a people, and we can agree with that, then we can move forward with the next generation, protecting the next generation of people that we bring in to understand. To you socialize with them, you build with them, you have respect for them. When you look in the mirror, you have respect and hold your head high, because we are part of this. You know, this is the real reason why these people programs work. Because at the same time they hating on us, they proud of themselves. Like, they might be saying F black people in ghetto, they ain't shit. They might be saying that. But at the same time they saying we do right by our people. I'm not looking down on the next Asian man or the next Chinese or the next Mexican woman. I'm looking like I need to help them out. You feel what I'm saying? I need to, if they fucking up, come in late on the job, I'm not gonna report them. I'm not gonna be on their ass like that. This job, you working for these YTs. You feel what I'm saying? So to this day, we still got that slave mentality where we kind of like, who's that nigga or that dag type shit. We got to get over that as Black men. The jealousy spirit, the uncooperative, rebellious spirit that we got against each other, you know, and it's just a
Nigga stole my axe.
I fucked up.
No, nigga stole my stuff.
I stole her stuff. Which, you know, when it all breaks down and boils down to, is that self-identity and self-determination is key. Because as long as a house divided cannot stand, as long as we got a bunch of Hebrews, a bunch of Nuwapians, a bunch of 5%ers, a bunch of Christians, a bunch of Nation of Islams, a bunch of all of that stuff, that's a secondary fight. You know, the first fight is, you know, we the indigenous people of this land, the Aboriginal people of this land. You know what I'm saying? That's the number one fight, because only the indigenous Aboriginal people of this land are owed real, true reparations beyond, you know, slavery. The indigenous people of this land are owed so much, and that's who we are, you know. And we owe it to ourselves to understand that. And to look around this whole world and look at all the indigenous Aboriginal people and understand what they look like, and understand that every Aboriginal person did not come from Africa. Like, that's not scientific. I got a whole bunch of balls.
Nick stole the boat.
I got an Orby, that's why. I'm gonna tell y'all like this indigenous Nick, it's been another real one. But we out this thing on this combo. You know what I'm saying?